Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Start of the new year, but we'll do something we've done every season for the past few years, as I remember, which is checking in with our elements of water, fire, earth, air, and space, or also known as ether, to see how this balance of elements plays out in our body-mind, how it plays off of the elements manifest in nature, with the season of winter being upon us. And winter is cold, wet, and heavy, and is governed by the elements of earth and water, and also then that translates to the dosha, kapha dosha, with its tendency for lethargy and weight gain and slower metabolism and that sleepy kind of somewhat energy depressed state. So winter is that hibernation time for many of us, and we can use our yoga practice to self-diagnose the balance or imbalance of elements in our own body and see how that balance changes and is affected by the seasons that we're in. And from that information, we can make then choices. So today's practice is to help you navigate the world of the elements as they manifest in our body-mind, but also a tool to help you figure out what to change and just how to change it to bring more health and balance and harmony to you in your everyday life. Let's begin with a little bit of centering and self-massage. Use your massage balls or just your hands. So let's come on to our back and relax for a moment. Get our breathing going. Have that nice ujjayi breath flowing through. And first order of business is just to feel the body. So we'll work on the earth element and kind of progress from element to element and just travel around the landscape of the body-mind and see what's going on with various elements. Now the earth element is manifested in our body by the bones, the most solid structure we have. And also we can feel how this element is playing itself out by the way we ground in our practice, the way we make contact with the floor, the way we make physical contact with the world around us, and sort of the sensations of the body as they are produced with movement, and breath, and massage. So as you're here, as you're massaging your back with your balls or your hands, you can reach back there. Create a steady stream of physical sensations and feel them, abide in them, connect with them. See how easy it is to feel these sensations. Are you able to stay focused on them, or as your mind wanders? The earth element also governs just general state of health, but also work and money, sort of the state of economics in your life. And by connecting and supercharging and powering up our earth element, we can then direct the energy of this element into other areas of our lives where the earth element is manifest and is the dominant sort of governing force. So I'm laying out some landmarks here for you to keep track of as you progress through your practice. After a brief massage of your upper body, take your balls out and transfer them under your pelvis. And if you don't have balls, you can grab a pillow or a folded blanket and put your pelvis up on a little elevation. Next, we're going to focus on connecting to the air element with a little bit more targeted breathing here, and arm movements that generate a little bit more flow and circulation around our lungs as we deepen the inhale. So you can spread the arms out wide so chest feels open right here. Tuck the shoulder blades down a little bit so that they feel open, and spread out generally. Invite some space into your chest. Yeah. And take a moment to reconnect to the grounding of the earth element. If that is something that seems to drop every now and then off the radar. And then focus more on an expansive, easy inhale. You can do some head turning side to side, some easy head circles to start working some tension out from the neck and shoulders. You can help with your hands too on the neck and scalp. Taking your hands to the neck and giving that a little massage. Working your fingers into the hair. And while we're here, we can also do little circles on the temples. Jaw hinge. Right strokes are along the eyebrows, from the bridge of the nose up over the eyebrows. Smoothing out the frown lines. Just generally relaxing. The more relaxed we are, the easier the breath is going to be. And so the air element, which governs the breath, but also the communication between mind and body. Think of it kind of as electrical, in a sense, force that transfers signals. And the breath is the communication between mind and body. So think of it as the communication tool. Yeah, let's start with the arms down our sides, and as we inhale, reach through the front up overhead, arch the spine. And exhale, and bring the arms down. You can softly round the spine. Yeah, so if you think of the breath as the communication tool, what areas in our lives benefit from better communication skills? I think relationships, friendships, love relationships, all benefit from being better at expressing ourselves and understanding others, right? So the way the air element is expressed in the body, with that nice, smooth, long exhalation and light, deep, expansive inhalation, we can coax that element, we can give it a little extra boost, and then channel that power of communication between breath, between mind and body via the breath, to other areas of our lives where we want to communicate more effectively. Yeah. Let's switch up the arm movement. Bring the arms wide out. Let them hover an inch off the floor so their weight can be experienced in your chest and back muscles. And then as you exhale, you can cross one over the other and give yourself a nice wrap. And as you inhale and open, you can again hover. And as you exhale and wrap, you can cross the other arm on top. And then focus on squeezing the shoulder blades as you inhale. And as you pin them with your body weight here, you can even feel them better. Yeah, and spreading the shoulder blades as you cross the arms. And as you cross and wrap, you can do a little bit of a rocking to massage that spot between the shoulder blades that becomes broader as they come apart. All of these elements will help us bring more blood flow to our upper back and chest muscles. And when we'll be working with them poses and movement, they'll be that much more ready to jump into action. All right. For the next part, if you're comfortable staying up on your pelvic support, stay. If at any point you become uncomfortable or tired of having something there, you can take it out. Next, we'll grab one knee with the same side hand, leave the other leg bent on the floor, and use the arm to stir the leg around the thigh in its hip socket. This is a very passive for the hip joint experience, right? We want to just gently start working with the joints, stirring around a few times in one direction, a few times in the other direction, listening into the hip joint. Now, joints are also governed by the water element because water is mobility, it's flow, and the more mobile and healthy and juicy our joints are, the better this water element is then able to function in our body. Yeah. And now we can do some easy straighten and bend to feel the knee joint, and you can use your hands to run up and down the leg and create some sensations. And give the foot a little extra movements, little circles, pointing and flexing. Hamstring maybe feeling a little stiff, so give that a little rub. Calves. If you can reach your foot at this time, and if it's not too cold to take socks off, give yourself a brief foot massage. Just knead around the foot. Yeah. Then you can put this leg down, grab the knee of the other, and repeat that process there. First, knee circles, supporting the knee. Still breathing, checking in that the breath is still smooth and full. Circle in both directions. And if you have your balls for pelvic support, it's nice to have them right where the dimples would be, right where the sciatic nerve would be coming through, as a little extra massage of that area if you tend to have a bit of sciatic issues, yeah? And some straightening and bending. Oh, hamstrings this morning are just like rusted old cables. So straightening and bending will bring some blood flow and allow the hamstrings to feel a little better. Little feet actions, foot massage. waking up our body one part at a time. All right. Next part is simple leg lifts to draw some more blood to our belly muscles for core work, but also to unlock our hip flexors, which often get locked up if we sit too much with our legs flexed. So I would suggest hold one leg in, extend one leg out to straight, and again, if it's uncomfortable to be on your pelvic support, out it comes, yeah? And then on the exhale, engage your core muscles first, then bring the leg up, and then inhale, lower it down. Exhale, coordinate core, then the leg comes up. Inhale and release it down. Engage the foot. We often do this exercise with the band around the foot, and that's an option you can reach for as well right now if you'd rather prefer. I switch it up every now and then, yeah? But with the foot active, communicating sensations via our nervous system to the brain, to the core, we can start connecting some dots here and plug in some important players, and feet contribute to core activation greatly. Yeah, a little bit of this on one side, and then you can simply switch legs and do a little bit on the other side. Inhale to lower, exhale to zip and lift. Right, so when we're using our muscles in particular ways, we're tapping into our fire element, the heat that the muscles produce. And judicious and smart efforting, not over efforting, not under efforting, but just the right amount of effort in just the right amount of place is what's going to balance our fire element. Yeah? As you finish the second side, then you can take the pelvic support out at this time. So we can grab our knees in. Yeah, hugging the knees, you can massage the low back with a bit of rocking side to side. Oh, this feels good after being up on the balls and then circling with the knees together. Now, besides smart efforting in the body and strong muscles doing the right thing at the right time, the fire element governs other things in our lives. What do you think the fire governs? What benefits from that shine and sparkle and heat that attracts the eye? So one of the things that fire governs is actually art and style and self-expression through what we wear and how we look and how we behave, the art we create, so that shiny, sparkly stuff we put forth that attracts the eye. And also that sparkle in your own eye when you like the way you are, when you like yourself. And you're happy with what you show to the world and it aligns with who you really are. When it's a genuine self-expression of your true self, that gives you that vitality, that fire that is so vibrant and so nice to see in people, don't you think? Yes. All right. A little pulse of the knees, Apanasana, inhale out, table, point toes, exhale and flex and pulse. And we'll work on that fire a little bit more with an easy twist. So let's put our feet down wide apart for windshield wipers. Find your neutral pelvis, spread the arms wide out. And as you exhale and twist the knees in one direction, roll the head in the opposite. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist and reach. And here we have that self-resistance, that judicious muscular effort to inform the shape and movement with a little extra sensations, to produce them, to feel them, allowing this movement to just feel delicious. Fire element governs digestion in the body and the function of internal organs here in the abdomen. So twists really help to bring more circulation and improve the function of them in our yoga practice. All right. A little warm up there. And then come back to center. Let's do some core work. For our core today, we'll do an interesting take on the crisscross. Sort of from my Pilates repertoire. I think of my Pilates tools when I think of core activation. So we'll do a simple crisscross first. So as you clasp your hands behind the head and bring the legs up into table, find your neutral pelvis here in the low back. And support your head just barely off the floor so the whole size in front of the body is elongated. Yeah, inhale in place. And then exhale and straighten one leg and lower it. And then point the same side elbow across to the knee that stays up. Inhale, center. Exhale, cross. Inhale, center. Exhale, cross. And to make this even more effective, avoid the reach of the knee in and the elbow down across. This will round your low back. And you'll miss this whole effect of reaching deeper into the lower belly, into your deeper core muscles. Right? All right. To make this a little bit more demanding if you want. Next time you straighten the leg. Yeah? The other leg could be used to cross over the knee a few times. Stay in this very small twist. Your elbow is pointing across the knee that's up and in. And just cross back and forth. Outside of the leg, inside of the leg that's hovering there. Yes. When you feel like you're running out of steam, switch and do the same on the other side. And this is optional. You can rest anytime if this is a little too difficult for you. But hopefully you feel a nice fire building up in your core. Finish up. Grab the knees in and soothe your back with a soft pulse. All right. Before we move on, we'll do another little core exercise with our leg extensions. And for this one, if you want to grab the band, you can. And I do recommend, because it really helps to feel your feet when you're doing this. And then when you have your band, put both feet in. Hold the band. And the more tension you have here, the easier it'll be. So you can calibrate tension with the amount of effort you want to spend. And remember, you don't want to over effort. You want to have just enough to feel like you're working, but you're staying in control. And then on the inhale, we'll straighten the legs out at an angle. And we'll point the balls of the feet into the band. And on the exhale, we'll bring the knees in. Now for this one, let's have our low back imprinted into the floor. Use our core muscles to pin it down as we inhale, open out at an angle, and exhale, squeeze together and bring it in. Check that your shoulders remain relaxed as you do this. So back to that fire element, judicial expenditure of energy. Smart use of muscles. What needs to be working is working. not overworking. What doesn't need to be working is taking a back seat. And again, you can rest anytime you feel like you've had enough. For a more advanced version of this, you can move on to the leg swings. And I would start with the legs straight up at 90 degrees or whatever. And then on the inhale, lower them down just a little bit. And on the exhale, squeeze, do your zip of the core to bring them back up. The legs don't need to come all the way down to the floor. As a matter of fact, it's important to monitor your low back here so that it does not pop up off the floor. Once you pin the low back down with your core, you want to keep it down the whole time. And I use a supercharged, powerful yoga breaths here, not too slow. I want to summon up that fire energy. Yeah. When you finish with these, you don't need the band anymore. Grab your knees, give them a hug and a pulse. And we'll move on to the favorite little vignette, which is side body. Yeah? So when you're ready, just roll over to your side. How's everybody doing? Let me quickly take attendance while you guys settle on your side. Now on the side, we'll try and actually balance all of these elements together. As you come onto your side, bring your knees up at 90 degrees. Rest your head on the bottom arm so your top arm is free to move. And as you inhale, reach forward and up with it. And as you exhale, keep reaching back and down, completing the circle on the exhale. So think of the inhale making half a circle, and then on the exhale, completing the other half of the circle. Your knees needs to stay together, and it's helpful sometimes to have a ball maybe between the knees as a tension point here to keep this judicial use of muscular expenditure in your core with your low rise zip. So using your core muscles to stabilize the pelvis, using your fire element, while you are focusing on mobilizing the shoulder, your water element. And having these relationships, because these elements do support each other and play off of each other, and a deficiency in one can be helped by efficiency in the other. So you can use these elements to help each other in your body. Now, what does the water element govern? I already mentioned mobility, fluidity. So it governs the joints. But what else do you think it governs besides that? I'll let you think about that just a moment so that you focus your mental energy on the water element. And we'll complete our arm circles, but we'll continue with the joints with our leg circles next. So take your top leg to straight, engage the foot so that it's active but not tense. And circle generously but without sacrificing stability. So you want your core muscles to keep providing that stability still. A few circles in one direction. A few circles in the other. And then finishing up here with the side stretch on the inhale, extending the top limbs out. And you can make it kind of a tense, active reaching. And on the exhale, it's a twist. We can bring the knee in and the elbow back and down. And this could be more like releasing. And continue at your pace on the inhale into the side stretch. And a long exhalation into the twist. And support the head and give yourself a little neck massage with the hand that's cradling your head. You can use that to add a little extra pleasure and enjoyment to this. So according to the Ayurveda, water element governs creation, sex, procreation, family. We create a family. So it governs, families, love, and sex. Which are an important part of having a nice, well-rounded existence, don't you think? Right. When you finish, come onto your back, do a nice full body stretch to do a little reset. So this is where we come back to the space element in our practice with contemplation on the effects and just doing a nice full body stretch here to make some space this way in the spine. And then we can slide the legs in, grab the knees in, exhale and pulse the knees. Make some space in the low back. And then you can hold on to the knees and pull yourself halfway forward and hang off the legs and make some space in the upper spine vertebra there. And then roll out vertebra by vertebra and take a moment to just be with the effects of your practice so far. Now let's roll over and do this on the other side. You can again grab the ball and place it between your knees. Support the head with the bottom arm and circle the top. Adjusting the range of movement so that the shoulder is comfortable. If you have a shoulder injury, you can clasp the hands behind the head and just do the rotation of the chest. On the inhale, opening, on the exhale, closing, without stressing out the shoulder any further. So that's an option to try if this full arm movement is a bit of a problem. Yeah? So use your core muscles to stabilize as you find some freedom and movement in the upper body. Make the movement generous, but without sacrificing stability. My favorite movements, I think, are the water element ones. As we go through this practice, you make mental notes about which movements you enjoy the most and what element governs those movements, and make them some connections. Next is leg circles. Yeah, extend your top leg out to straight, engage the foot and circle generously around. Yeah, so with this particular movement, we're actually combining elements. We're combining the fire element with the water element. A few circles in one direction, a few circles in the other. Yes. And then side stretch on the inhale and twist on the exhale. a little neck massage with a little tense on the inhale and a release on the exhale to just amp up the nutritional value of these movements. Adding a little bit of seasoning. As you finish this sequence, come onto your back for another reset in the space element, which governs understanding. So we want to understand what's going on, what's happening, see clearly the true nature of things as they manifest, recognize these elements, know what they do, see how they work, and be informed so that we can make appropriate choices. So take a moment and rest a little bit. And then we'll flip over into child's pose. And there are some movements in yoga that can be used to tap into any element depending on what the focus and attention you put into it. The same movement, cat and cow, could have your focus be on the grounding, on the fluidity, on the muscular efforting, so and of course the breath, so you can tailor and calibrate the next few series of movements to get a boost to the element maybe you feel needs it more. So hopefully by now you have done a little bit of self-exploration and self-diagnosis and can already tell which elements are doing great and manifesting wonderfully and you have a good connection to them, and which elements maybe not so good. So bring those elements into your focus as we do the next spinal series. Let's come into child's pose with our arms extended forward and plug in our back body breath. So just infusing the air element into the breathing here. Engaging that nice expansive capacity of the lower back ribs to protect our low back in back bends coming up very soon. Once you feel established in that, take advantage of that as you inhale into table pose with a little bit of a back bend. Engage your low rise zip in the belly, but fill in your lower back ribs with breath at the same time. And then slow exhale back into child's. Let's repeat a few times. And here we can tend to the grounding of the earth element by pressing hands and feet and just engaging that connection to the floor. We can tap into the fire element in table pose by pretending or actually micro-hovering the knees off the floor, distributing the muscular effort as evenly as we can through the body, making sure we have the core engaged. The water element could be tapped by moving fluidly back and forth. Yeah, let's do the same with cats and cows as we arch on the inhale and round on the exhale. For me, the natural element to tap into here is the water one with a fluid breath and movement coordination and fluid spinal articulation. But we can definitely pull in other elements with the hands spreading and grounding on the floor, same with the toes, with the muscular effort distributed evenly along the core and the back muscles. Just finding all of these elements coming together. Yeah, and then the jump ropes too. Starting in the inhale with the sway back, and then doing a lateral with a side squeeze, flexion, other side lateral, inhaling center. And then you can reverse the direction. And here also, all the elements can play together. Notice which one drops off and pull it back in. Do your hands curl up? Keep grounding through the knuckles. Does the breath and movement acquire kind of a stutter or unevenness? Work to smooth it out. That kind of thing. Right. And then as you come back into child's pose, there's our space element. Be there, feel it. Gather information, and then we'll use that information in our back bends next. Let's come onto the belly. Prop ourselves up on the elbows. Yeah. Let's pause here for a moment and check in with our belly muscles, engaging the low rise. Check in with our shoulder blades. Let's do some shoulder shrugs and really experience those shoulder blades moving. Yeah, neck relationship to the spine is important in back bends. So just look over the shoulder a time or two behind you to feel the neck and how it fits in this whole shape. Yeah. And then when we're doing our back bends, keep the head level with the rest of the spine. Avoid allowing the shoulder blades to slide up and the head to drop back. Instead, focus on keeping the shoulders down and neck neutral by looking down in front of you so that your jaw can be relaxed and the breath can be smooth. Let's have our fingertips wide out with the elbows lifted to broaden across the chest. And with the zip on the inhale, we can come up into a mild back bend. And on the exhale, release all the way down, cheek to side. Low rise zip, back body inhale as we come up. Shoulder blades, neck. And then exhale, cheek other side. Light pressure through the fingertips to maximize the use of our back muscles. And notice which of these little details you need to pay special attention to keep them active. Is it the low rise zip? Is it the back body breath? Is it the shoulder blades that need reminding to stay down? Or is it the neck and head position that needs to be checked every time you come up? So the space element governs our attention, our awareness, our consciousness, our ability to perceive and to make common sense good choices for ourselves in the moment. Because all the other elements need space to abide in. And our consciousness is what that space is. This is where they manifest, and this is where we can interact with them, offering them that space to be and express themselves in their nature. All right, a little rest. You can fold the hands under your forehead, bend the knees, do some easy windshield wipers just to keep the back from cramping. And I will do just a quick round of leg lifts to engage our low back and leg muscles, and then we'll come up to standing and interact with the elements in a different way, right? So here, keeping your pelvis level, a low rise engaged throughout. You can lift one leg up at a time. Inhale, lift, lift. Exhale, lift, lift. We'll do just a moderate, even pace today. Even though there's a variety of ways we can play with our leg lifts, we can just today stay focused on the elements, right? We can bring the element of earth by grounding the pelvis evenly, the element of fire by distributing the effort judiciously and evenly for our low back, glutes, and hamstrings, the element of air with smooth breath, and the element of water with fluid, smooth movement. All right, and you just can rest anytime you want. I'm just waiting to get a little bit of a buzz from my back muscles to let me know that I've done enough reps for the muscles to not necessarily tire out and reach fatigue levels, but to feel like they've done their fair share of work. Yeah. When you feel that, rest a little bit with some windshield wipers. We'll do our swan dive, skydive, of course, to fire up all of our back muscles at once. All right. There's two versions of this, if you remember. The one we'll do first as a warm-up could be the one you stick with because it's just easier, it makes common sense for you. So we'll start with full prostration on the inhale. And on the exhale, we'll spread the legs apart and slide the hands in and squeeze the shoulder blades together and down the back. Looking down, remember, neck. And inhale into full prostration and exhale into swallowtail cobra. So this is an easier version. If you need to, for some reason, to be more lenient on your low back and feel like you may be getting a little tired and you don't want to overdo it. So this judicious use of muscles here is important, right? For a more advanced version, you can do the same movement but hovering the limbs. Into swan dive on the inhale and the skydive shape on the exhale. And of course, a good, well-developed awareness and space element will tell you when to stop, when you've had enough. So pay attention. When you've had enough, gently help yourself up into table. And back into child's. And we'll do simple table on the inhale, child's on the exhale, just to settle the back. You can do more or less of this depending how your back is doing. Let's all rest in child's pose eventually for some more back body breaths. So next is going to be a series of explorations through movement of these elements and their manifestation in our body-mind. Yeah? So let's first abide in the element of space with a simple, open, grounded stance with our feet hip distance apart and toes spread, joints soft and ready to move, chest open, posture good. Close your eyes. Yeah. And just be for a moment, find your breath. Find your attention. And let's imagine that an unknown force is approaching. We don't know what it is that's coming. But we know we're going to have to deal with it. We will deal with whatever's coming through the earth element, with the feeling of resisting and digging in and just presenting a very powerful stance with a warrior pose. So from your stance, as you open your eyes, inhale, and on the exhale, take a rather short step forward, bend the front knee, and then with your whole body and energy, as if you're pushing a giant boulder up the hill, come slightly forward and down. for that solid earth energy stance. Yeah, and then on the inhale, pull back. If you've taken your step too far forward and it's hard to pull back, just step a little shorter next time. Inhale in place and exhale with power, pushing and resisting. And inhale, pull back. As you're doing this, side to side, one foot forward with a slight lean of the torso forward. Yeah, and then the other foot. Notice how this feels for you and how you respond to this energy. Do you find that it suits you? Do you feel comfortable with this kind of reaction to things? You feel like it's your skin and it's you. You're really embodying a very familiar and comfortable psychologically stance here. Forward and down. Yeah. So just diagnosing the earth element here for ourselves and our sort of psychological comfort with it and reaction to it. Yeah. One last one, round out the sides. And then come back to the space element in the center. Stand tall and contemplate. How did that feel? Did it feel like you really connected to that particular approach? And then let's imagine another force is approaching. Next we're going to take the fire element stance, which is forward and up on the inhale. Yeah? So as you open your eyes, take a short step forward, lift your chest, lift your arms, and then you're pushing it up. Yeah? And then on the exhale, come back to space. Inhale forward and up with lots of uplifting energy, like a fire beam from your heart, from your being, and exhale, step back. Do the same thing here. Try and embody the fire element. I think I'm wearing a red shirt today, maybe, to add a little bit of that. I feel really nicely fired up in this stance today. Yeah. Now the fire element helps us to fight for what's right. If the earth element helps us dig our heels in and resist when we don't want to change, the fire element helps us to fight for that change if needed. Sometimes that's what needs to happen. Notice how you respond to this invitation to action. Yeah. And come back and contemplate that in the space stance. How did that go? A little heart rate up. A little bit more heat in the body. Now let's again imagine yet another presence of forces approaching. Next we're going to take the water stance in response to it. The water is fluid and is a kind of embodiment of creative compromise. And it will be a step back and down on the exhale. So you may wish to adjust where you are in your space so you have room behind you for that step back. Yeah? So inhale in place, and on the exhale take a little short step back. Soften all the joints in your body and just kind of go down. And be really ready to move, very active, almost like martial arts stance, like, yeah. And then inhale out and exhale in the other foot back. And here, invite a sense of fluid, light in the joints, really oiled in the joints kind of a feeling. Invite a fluidity and a shape shifting into your body that you're ready to just flow around obstacles. I always think of the Matrix and Keanu Reeves doing that avoidance of the bullets type of a thing. So you can be as creative as your joints allow here in the stance. You don't have to bend the knees a lot. Or if your joints are really good, you can just go all the way down and all the way up. And just really feel what's possible, what compromise is possible, what solutions are available. Yeah. I have to say, I do enjoy the water element the most. Yeah. All right. Having had you a little bit of fun with that, I hope, come back to the space element and contemplate. Did that feel weird? Did you find that freedom of choice and expression and creation? Creating shapes actually, given the parameters? Or did you not know what to do and just did whatever? All right, final element, an unknown presence is approaching. We'll take the air stance, which is avoidance, because sometimes that's what we need to do. Sometimes the best thing is just to run away. And the stance is to the side and up. It's a balance stance. So you would take a step side, come onto the balls of the feet, and bring the arms up. And this is on the inhale. And exhale out, and step back. Side and up, inhaling, exhale out, side and up, inhaling, exhale out, like that. And see how this feels as a solution, as a valid choice, depending on what it is you're dealing with, right? What we often experience in life is that we're reaching for the familiar without considering all the options. Sometimes the situation requires us to take the water stance, but we stubbornly dig in with the earth stance no matter what it is. And sometimes the situation requires us to take the air stance and just get out of the way. But we stubbornly fight because the fire stance is what we're used to taking. Let's come back to the space element with our comfortable, grounded, spacious, expansive stance and contemplate. On which of these elements felt like a good choice, a familiar choice, a ready choice, a knee-jerk reaction choice, which felt like you had to really work to summon it. And maybe one of the elements you just didn't feel at all. It felt alien and strange and weird. Yeah. So as we finish up our practice with some wind down, keep in your mind these ideas and keep tailoring the rest of your practice to what you just sort of maybe got a glimpse of you need more of. So let's come back to the floor. To the floor, sit up with your legs in front of you. Bend your knees generously so you can come forward into a fold from your hips with your ribs making close contact with your thighs. And that way you can reach your feet. And this is a nice way to A, give yourself a foot massage. Never turn down a chance for a foot massage. But B, also use your feet to stretch out your back a little bit. If you grab onto the feet over the top, you can use them as leverage, pushing lightly into your hands and pulling yourself a little bit more snug into that bent knee forward fold. Let's spend a moment here just checking in with our back body breath and switching gears. And then let's roll back and lie down on our back. And grab the knees into chest. And rest a little bit more, just softly pulsing the knees in and out. So our wind down will include a roll up bridge pose, which is like cat and cow, is a platform for exploring and connecting to all of the elements. Let's have our feet on the floor hip distance. And we'll use the feet for grounding our earth element. We'll use our core and zip up to firing up our fire element. Fluid spinal articulation for water, and nice breath movement coordination for air. Yeah. So start in neutral on the inhale with the arms spread out, and as you exhale, do a nice deep zip of your core, imprinting, and roll up vertebra by vertebra into bridge. Find neutral. Inhale in place. Elements. And then roll down on the exhale, vertebra by vertebra. Nice and fluid there. Roll out into neutral, inhale in place. Exhale, zip, scoop, and roll up. In bridge, your weight should be on the shoulder blades and not on the neck. Yeah, neutral, inhale in bridge. And vertebra by vertebra, roll down on the exhale. Continue at your pace. If your knees tend to drift apart and you lose this connection to your center and your core, one thing to add might be a ball or something light to hold between the knees and squeeze lightly to keep this connection feeding into the center line. Let's work on smoothing out any kinks in breath and movement. Grounding, anchoring, firing, and observing, creating a really meditative quality to all of this, honoring all the 5 elements at once. Finish up. Grab your knees in for a little Apanasana Pulse. Reset. Now this allows more circulation to the upper body. With a gentle twist and a longer exhale, we'll continue improving circulation to the midsection. So one version is to have the feet on the floor, knees together, arms spread, neutral pelvis, and then long exhalation as you twist, keeping the knees together. And a deep inhale as you come back to center. Or the legs could be up in table. And this is a deeper twist, requires more effort, so only do this if the effort doesn't become a strain at any point. And also if you can still work on lengthening your exhale to your comfortable maximum. As you twist, you exhale. And as you come back to center, you inhale. Sometimes when we're doing this, it's fine for the low back, but a little problematic for the shoulder. So as you twist, if you feel the shoulder is pulling or pinching, you can just lift the arm up by your ear, maintaining the twist in the trunk. Yeah, just releasing the shoulder. And then as you inhale and come out, you can just reposition the arm back out, shoulder level or so. So some little tweaks here to choose to make this custom and give you the most effect. Either way, knees together. Wait for the inhale. Don't make assumptions. When the urge is good, then you inhale out. And then last but not least, very important, is settling down our low back, and one last sort of massage and circulation to the lower body with Apanasana Pulse. So when you finish your twists, again hold on to the knees right up in front of you. Inhale, hold on as you release the knees away just as far as the arms allow. And then on the exhale, as you guide them back in, just pulse softly for the rest of the exhale and any pause after. We want to encourage the pause after the exhale for maximum relaxation and de-stressing. So you can work on that here. Shoulders relaxed, close your eyes and just start blurring the dividing line between action and actor, between breath and movement. Yeah, and just create a very seamless, minimum effort, so kind of effortless experience here where things blend and merge and become each other. Blending the boundaries and experiencing unity. And then come into your favorite Shavasana shape or constructive rest pose with the knees bent and together, feet apart. Grab those socks and sweatshirt and just get comfortable for the next few minutes as I guide you through a little bit more exploration of the elements, kind of meditating on them and the way we can use the connection to them to improve all kinds of areas in our lives, because the start of the new year often is the time for taking stock of what works, what doesn't, what could be improved. So as we relax in the comfort of a familiar space, yeah, nice level, firm surface underneath the back. Surrender to the weight and the heaviness of the body and the bones in it. Yeah, the anchoring effect of our earth element. Feel the residual warmth still left in the muscles. The fire element still roaming and still active in your body, maintaining this sense of just aliveness and fire and responsiveness, action potential. Now allow the breath to be smooth and fluid, and the mind traveling through the body. Yeah, that movement of consciousness that the water element governs. Just roam around joint to joint, muscle group to muscle group, and just say hello to everything. Especially say hello to the spaces that feel light and airy and spaces that feel dense and dark and solid. And just get to know the landscape of you. And of course, for the air element, we want that nice, full, soft, expansive, diaphragmatic breath. Notice if you actually are able to relax, or does your mind wander and fret about? Have you reached for your phone yet to check out what the time is? And have you got any messages? Type of a thing. That's an indication of the space element's condition, your ability to find and maintain for a little bit that inward-looking meditative state of mind. On that note, hopefully this exploration will help you kind of plan out what you'll focus in your yoga practice and maybe just your daily life might be for the next few weeks as you seek a greater balance in your life. And I thank you for joining me. Namaste.